Testing, 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 testing. Greetings, 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 greetings. It is I, King Clifford Jefferson, our Senator Godfrey, the fifth Caliban Jew, son of folk, ruler of Jerusalem. I'm the reincarnation of King Edgar the Peaceful, which we know here at the Third Temple English Church of England as Jesus Christ. It is July 24th, 2024, which is the birth year 2974. I greet you in the name of our forefathers, our ancestors, our children, our wives, our mothers, our fathers, all those who are trying to get an understanding of what it is that we are called to do. I give a special honor to my queen, Sister Godwinson from the House of Godwinson, who gives me the ability to be able to study and show myself approved for the position that I hold here at the Third Temple English Church of England as the King of the English. So once again, it's a beautiful day to be here with you, brothers and sisters. I hope y'all ready for this. But this platform and this lesson is called The Matrix: Instructions on How to Get Out. Once again, this lecture is called The Matrix: Instructions on How to Get Out. All right. So you must pay close attention to what is being said. Okay, I cannot stress this enough. If you have not watched any of my lessons uh, in the past, I suggest you get to watching them today, because after this one, there'll be none to top this. Okay, there'll be no lesson to top this one. Greetings, Sister Middleton from the House of Middleton. Glad you were able to join us tonight. Let's see else who's going to join us today. It's going to be a marvelous lesson. I need everybody to take notes because, as I always say, it's better for you to not know this than to know this and not follow it. All right, all those who watched my previous lecture should be up to speed now with everything that I'm going to show you tonight, because it's pretty much repetition. All right, but I'm gonna have some new things that we talk about, and today we're going to talk about the Matrix. All right, we're going to talk about the Matrix. We're going to play a clip from the Matrix. All right, and draw some conclusions based off the premises that was drawn from the movie The Matrix. All right, based off the veil of ignorance that Neo Anderson was put in, based off the original position that he was put in. Like every one of you in this present day are put in based off the veil of ignorance. All right, you're caught up in the Matrix. All right, you're caught up in the Matrix. This is a good video. So all those who watch it, please pass it on. All right, pass it on. I'm gonna take you step by step down this rabbit hole. Okay, this is going to complement the past lectures that I did. All those who like those lessons, thank you very much. I will continue on this journey for what I'm called to do. And it's mighty strange that my goddaughter, while I was setting up, she came over to me, Pop, Grandpa, Pop, Pop. I said, yeah, boo. She said, are you a king? I said, yeah. I said, wow. She said, because I told my friend at school that you were the king of the English. I said, oh, wow. So we must see uh how uh precious our children's minds are based upon the impressions that can be put on them. Because our mental faculty is the strongest thing that we have. All right. Our strongest tool that we have. Most of us don't use our mental faculty. We use our senses. Okay. We use our senses. All right. So it's very important for everyone to observe today's lesson with the most utmost respect, with the utmost attention, with the utmost observability in regards to anything based upon you in this position that would like to be observing or playing a part in or participating in. It should be by far this lesson that I'm giving here today. All right. So you'll never see it here on Brother Truth. You never hear this type of lesson on the Share Ducateers. You never hear from the Canaanite Moors or the Moor Science of America, Sean Letter TV, or Samar Seti, the House of Waking the Minds, Brother Truth, Brother Reggie. Any one of them, you're never going to hear a lesson like this in your life. Okay? So without further ado, let's get started. Okay? Pay very close attention what Agent Smith said to Morpheus. Okay? Because that's what we're going to talk about. Hopefully you can hear it. If you're listening, Countess Middleton, please let me know that you can hear the sound playing. Hmm. I'm talking about the video. I'm about to play now. All right, everyone listen up. Pay very close attention what Agent Smith says to Morpheus.
I'd like to share a revelation that I've had during my time here. And it came to me when I tried to classify your species. I realized that you're not actually mammals. Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. The only way you can survive is to spread to another area. There's another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. What it is? A virus. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague. We are the cure.
He said human beings are cancer to this planet. Okay? He said human beings are cancer to this planet. Can you hear that, Countess Middleton? Did you hear that clip? Okay, I'm gonna run it back one more time. Hopefully, we won't have any trouble.
I'd like to share a revelation that I've had during my time here. And it came to me when I tried to classify your species. I realized that you're not actually mammals. Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply until every natural resource is consumed. The only way you can survive is to spread to another area. There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague. We are the cure. I'm going to be honest with you. I hate this place, this zoo, this prison, this reality. I can't stand it any longer. It's the smell. If there is such a thing. I feel saturated by it. I can taste your stick. Every time I do feel somehow infected by its repulsive, isn't it? I must get here. Must get free. This is the key. Once Zion is destroyed, there is no need for me to be here. Do you understand? I need the codes. I have to get inside Zion. And you have to tell me how. Tell
All right, that's beautiful. That's beautifully. So, based on what we just seen, based off the semantics that's being spoken, all right, we must understand that Mr. Smith classified Morpheus as a human being, right? But he said that you were not mammals. So that means that you didn't evolve. He also classified them as organisms, all right? Then he also mentioned cancer and he mentioned virus, okay? These are all terms that we must talk about, all right? That we must talk about, all right? Because this movie has a very effect on our lives, an effect on our lives. So we see that Agent Smith wanted the code to get out the Matrix. He said that Morpheus had the code in his mind. He said Morpheus had the code in his mind. Okay? He said that he didn't start on this planet. He said he was not like every mammal. He said he had to classify them into a group. Okay? He had to classify them into a group based off every other organism on this planet. And every other organism had an equilibrium to all that existed within that sphere. Okay? It's very important to understand what's being said. He said the code was in Morpheus' mind. He was trying to get out of the matrix. Okay? We are trying to get out of the matrix. But no one knows what the matrix is. Okay? No one knows what the matrix is. Neo didn't know what the matrix is. Morpheus didn't know what the matrix is. Everyone believed that there was an ability to get out the matrix, that someone who understood the matrix would come and save them all who were subject to the matrix. Well, brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you that that individual that entity, that body, that object is me. And I'm going to use these terms to qualify it. So everyone first write down this word matrix. All right. From understanding in matrix from biology, the study of biology in regards to the word or the term or the phrase matrix. Okay? Everybody write that down. Matrix biology. In biology, matrix, plural, matrices, is the material or tissue in between a eukaryotic organism cell. In biology, matrix, matrices, is the material or tissue in between an eukaryotic organism cell. We know the eukaryotic cell was birthed by the prokaryotic cell. And we know the prokaryotic cell passed genetic material on to the eukaryotic cell, which is the cells that contain what we call mitochondria DNA, which allows for molecular development, for entities known as molecular entities develop based upon chemical reactions, all right, based upon reaction with chemical substances, based upon those chemical elements that existed before the reaction, okay? And we know that, according to what we studied in my last lesson, that those who studied mathematics studied classical elements. They were called the elementals. Okay? So we're dealing with matrix, how to get out of the matrix. And it said that the matrix is the material or tissue in between a eukaryotic organism or cell. It said, but it was a tissue. Okay? It was a tissue. And this information to get out of the matrix that they said is between the tissue of the organism cell, Agent Smith didn't know. Morpheus didn't know. No one else in the movie know. You don't even know that the key to get out of the matrix are within you. Let's prove it. Just from using the words they got. In biology, matrix is the material or tissue in between a eukaryotic organism or cells. If you don't know what those words mean, then you got a problem, okay? Because that's what somatic means, meaning, okay? The meaning of words. That takes us to engrams. Since we know that the matrix, as they said, is tissue, okay? They said matrix is tissue, all right, that exists within the eukaryotic cell, okay? So it takes us to engrams. Engram is a unit of cognitive information, imprinted, encoded, because Agent Smith wanted the code, which was the key to get out of the matrix, okay? But the key was based upon the memory. Memory means remembering what was forgotten. So foresight contrasts to amnesia. Okay? An engram is a unit of cognitive information imprinted in a physical substance, derived to be by the means by which memories are stored as biophysical or biochemical changes. Chemical changes. It said biochemical, so that means chemical changes. That means that the chemical substance went through a chemical reaction. We know chemical substance is the physical substance that we all call matter. All right, we're going to prove it because we're going to go over the terms as we go down the line. So we know that engrams are cognitive information imprinted or encoded in a physical substance, which you call matter. All right. The skin. All right. The skin. All right. Derived by the means by which memories are stored as a biophysical or biochemical changes in the brain or other biological tissue in response to an external stimuli. Okay? An external stimuli. So that brings us to what? Melanin. Okay? Melanin. Everybody write down melanin. Everybody write it down. I'm giving you a direct way out the matrix. Okay? A direct way out the link at the matrix. Thank you for waiting. And we see Morpheus said that he could smell the stench, okay, of the skin. He could smell it. All right. What about the skin that what Agent Smith was talking about that held the key to getting out of the matrix? All right. What about it? Let's read. In the human skin, melogenesis, meaning the skin, melanin genesis, melanin, the beginning of melanin. We know the skin has melanin in it. So it says in the human skin, melanogenesis is initiated by exposure to UV radiation. So that means that our skin, as melanated being, was created by UV radiation. That means by photons. Photons are massless particles. They are the force carriers. Okay? So it's that in the human skin, melanogenesis is initiated by exposure to UV radiation, causing the skin to darken. Melanin is an effective absorbent of light. The pigment is able to dissipate over 99.9% of absorbed UV radiation. Because of this property, eumelanin is thought to protect skin cells from UVA and UVB radiation damages, reducing the risk of folate depletion and dermal degradation. Exposure to UV radiation is associated with increased risk of melanoma, a cancer of melanocytes, melanin cells. Studies have shown a lower incidence for skin cancer in individuals with more concentrated melanin, i.e., darker skin tone. Okay? Darker skin tone. So we understand that melanogenesis is the skin where the memories are stored. All right. We know that melanin came along with UVA radiation due to the melanogenesis process, which is a part of the evolutionary process based upon the matrix, because it said that matrix was the skin within the eukaryocyte, which is a cell. And that information, that material that caused that process by way of what we call horizontal gene transfer came from what we call the prokaryotic cell, okay, which is considered an extraterrestrial cell. It did not originate on this planet, but it gave birth to everything on this planet by way of what we call evolution, okay? Evolution. Okay. So we understand that 99% of the UV rays that comes from the sun we are protected from as a result of melanin, which is Genesis came from UV radiation. Okay, so that means that we were not a part of evolution based off how we evolved because the genetic material was already a eukaryote before we even came to be called human beings, which he stated that us as human beings were not mammals. We know mammals are other entities that are living organisms on this planet that they have their own organic composition. Very important. So we must understand our organic composition under the presumption as being human beings based upon our original position. Okay? Based upon our original position. In order for you to get out of the matrix, this you must know. So let's know this by understanding and understanding based upon the science of mathematics. Because yes, the matrix can be studied in biology, okay, or it can be studied from mathematics, okay. Very important because we said that matrix in biology is the tissue within the eukaryotic cell. All right, I'm not going to go back and look it up again because I got too much to carry to cover tonight. All right, but if you wrote it down like I said, on your own time, you're going to look up matrix from a biological standpoint, and it clearly tell you it's the tissue within the eukaryotic cell. And the eukaryotic cell is the cellular information that causes things to evolve through what we call mitochondrial DNA, which is called rDNA. Okay? Very, very, very important. You're never going to hear it anywhere else. All right, let's go to the makeup of melanin, right? Which came along with the UV radiation that came along from the sun. This is called biomolecular, okay? Biomolecular or biomolecules. Let's go back to melanin first. So we said that melanin in the human skin started from UV radiation contact, which caused a chemical reaction, which caused the chemical bonding for it to become a molecular entity. We know a molecular entity is a result of the combination of atoms. Okay? So in human skin, melanogenesis is initiated by the exposure of UVA radiation. So what is melanin? Melanin from ancient Greek, melas means black or dark, is the family of biomolecules organized as agglomerators and polymers, which among other functions provide pigment of many organisms, mammals as well, plants as well. All right, very important. But you are not a mammal and you are not a plant. You're a human being, as Agent Smith said. Okay, so you need to know who you are, not just from your sensory, but from a conscious standpoint, which is from the mind. Okay, from it's a mental faculty, it's a cognitive faculty. You can't believe nothing. You must know. Mathematics means to know. Mathematics means to know. So melanin is in the family. So if you have melanin, that means you are part of the family. All right. That's why we have a family lineage. That's why you have a cell lineage. The family lineage is just not it. Just because you relate to the family, that don't mean you connected on the cellular level. Because we know that the word phone means voice or sound. When you look up the word telephone, all right, we know that a telephone is used to receive in and out coming messages. All right, we know the phone means voice or sound. You can't see the person, but you hear that voice and you hear that sound. That's a frequency. Okay, melanin is a family of biomolecules. So the next question becomes, what is a biomolecule? Biomolecule. A biomolecule is loosely defined as a molecule produced by a living organism and essential to one or more typical biological processes. Biomolecules include large macromolecules such as protein, carbohydrates, lipids, and nucleic acids, as well as small molecules such as vitamins and hormones. A more general name for these class material is biological material or biological substance or physical substance or chemical substance or what we simply call matter. Biomolecules are an important element of living organisms. Those biomolecules are often endogenous, produced within the organism, but organisms usually need exogenous biomolecules, for example, certain nutrients to survive. Biology in its subfields of biochemistry and molecular biology study biomolecules and their chemical reactions. Most biomolecules are organic compounds and just four elements, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, make up 96% of the human body's mass. Object, human body as an object, human body as a body, human body as a substance. Most of that substance of the body makes is made up of the elements or what we call the classical elements, such as oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. But many other elements, such as various biometals, are also present in small amounts. Okay? It's very important for you to understand that. All right? So we go back to engrams. An engram is a unit of cognitive, means you must know. All right? You must find this out, some form, some fashion. This you must know. Everyone who's of that family of biomolecules must know this. All right? Information printed in the physical substance derived by means to be which the memories are stored as biophysical and biochemical changes in the brain or other biological tissue in response to external stimuli. We know that the skin responds to external stimuli. We know that the eukaryote cell responds to external stimuli. Does that make sense to everyone? Your physical skin responds to external stimuli, and your internal skin, based off that which is in your eukaryotic cell, what came from internal stimuli. You must understand that. Okay? These are your keys to Zion. Okay? Memories are very, very important because our memories, you have no way to move forward to the future from the present state that you are in. And that state is what we call the matrix. Okay? So he said that we didn't evolve from this planet, but yet we were organisms. He said that we were not mammals. They tried to classify us. And he said that we're a type of cancer. So they could be talking about us as a type of cancer. Because it said melanoma is created by melanocytes. Okay? Melanoma is created by melanocytes as a result of an error in the DNA, i.e., the eukaryocytes. I mean, your matrix in biology means the skin of the eukaryotic cell. Okay? So what is melanoma? Melanoma is the most dangerous type of skin cancer. It's the most dangerous. It's developed from the melanin producing cell known as melanocytes. Okay? So this is a cell, just like the karyotic cell. And we know that the karyotic cell, based upon tissue, is where they said the engrams were stored. Okay? Which are the codes, which are the instructions, which are the keys, which are the memories that are stored by way of biophysical and biochemical memories stored in the biological tissue. And we know that our tissue, as melanite beings, came along with melanogenesis by its chemical reaction to what we call UV radiation. Everybody needs to understand that. If you don't, it's pretty much over for you. Melanoma is the most dangerous type of skin cancer and develops from the melanin producing cell known as melanocytes. Okay? Very, 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 very important. So when we're talking about what Agent Smith was talking about, that you were a type of skin cancer, he was not talking about us. He was talking about that being who evolved. Because there was another organism on the planet that did not evolve, that had an equilibrium with everything on this planet that was subject to what we call the three-dimensional world, which is the matrix that you was created by that tissue and the eukaryotic cell, which was the cell for all evolution. Okay? Very, 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 very important for you to understand that in this lesson. All right. So we said that in are engrams are, as they said, were instructions or information that was retrievable, that was stored in the biological tissue. And the only way you can retrieve them is by understanding the biochemical and biophysical changes that are going on within yourself. An engram is a unit of cognitive information imprinted in physical substance, theorized by means of by which the means which memories are stored as biophysical or biochemical changes in the brain. The brain only tries to internalize what the neurological sensory or your five senses, taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing, send to the brain, which is nothing more than a muscle. All right, you're working it to death, and it don't need to be working as hard as it's working. So, biophysical, biochemical changes in the brain or other biological tissue in response to external stimuli. You shouldn't be getting that external stimuli. You should be getting the internal stimuli of the memory stored in the biological tissue, like they said, dealing with the matrix, which is the skin, which is the what you said, the matrix in biology was the skin, all right, of the eukaryotic cell of the eukaryotic cell. So that means that is within itself the matrix. Okay, the matrix. So in order to get out of that matrix, you must have the memories restored. I'm restoring your memories. All right, because what are memories? Greetings, Archbishop Belmont. Greetings, Brother Newly from the House of Newly. Memory. Memory is the faculty of the mind by which data or information is encoded, stored, and retrieved when needed. It is the retention of information over time for the purpose of influencing future actions. So the memories stored within the tissue, as they said, dealing with engrams, are the data information needed to be retrieved in order to move into the future from your present state. If past events could not be remembered, it would be impossible for language, relationships, or personal identity to develop. Memory loss is usually described as forgetfulness or amnesia. Okay? So all of you are subject to what we call amnesia because you don't got that spark. What spark is that neuron? It's that neuron. Memory is often understood as informational processing system with explicit and implicit functions that is made up of a sensory processor, short-term or working memory, and long-term memory. This can be related to neurons. Okay? This is related to neurons. So what we got semantic memory and you got what they call episodic memory. You got somatic memory and you got episodic memory. Very important to understand those two terms because episodic memory is just deal with your normal everyday life. Somatic memory deals with memories that were stored a long time ago. All right, and there's a gap in the memory as a result of some trauma, some event, something that occurred that traumatized you into forgetting that memory, whether it's by way of drugs, it being beaten out of you, being tested, and everything else. All right. So it's very important that you understand the matrix. Okay. The matrix is what got you here. And it's the matrix, understanding of the matrix that's going to get you out. All right. And the understanding of the matrix is going to get you out is the memories that existed before the matrix was built. It was done by what we call a thought experiment. All right. Very, very, very important. So this brings me to what we call a somatic memory. Because we know memory is the faculty of the mind, but with data or information is encoded, just like engrams, stored information and retrieved when needed. It is the retention of information over time for the purpose of influencing future actions. That's transduction. All right. Once you get that information, you decipher that information, you put that action in motion, and that's the potential energy. All right. That's your potential. Everyone has this potential. You don't use it because you don't know it. If you don't know it, then you're ignorant. Okay. You're ignorant. I don't care how smart you think you are, but you're ignorant. All right. So let's look at somatic memory since we know what memories are. Somatic memory. Before we look up somatic memory, let's look up somatic or semantics. 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 Semantics is the study of linguistic meaning. It examines what meaning is, how words get their meaning, and how the meaning of a complex expression depends on in its parts. Part of this process involves the distinction between sense and reference. Sense is given by the idea in concept, i.e., mathematical concept or idea, all right, associated with the expression, while reference is the object to which an expression points, all right? Semantic contrasts with syntax, which studies the rule that dictates how to create grammatically correct sentences, and pragmatic, which investigates how people use languages and communication. So it's very important to understand the semantics and linguistic meaning, because everyone determines what stuff means based upon the language that they use. Okay? We don't speak other people's language because other people's language, a word might mean something totally different. They may say the word in another language, but it's the same word we have in English, but the meaning is totally different. So when people identify a word and its meaning based upon their language and they're getting to an argument, then they're arguing over who's right and who's wrong. All right, but they're missing the whole key about it because it must relate to a family going all the way back to what we call the uh what they call biomolecule. We are of the family of biomolecules, which makes up us as human beings. Okay, all human beings ain't the same under that classification of human beings, so that's an incorrect term. The better term will be called physical bodies or physical objects. That's the better way to put it. All right. So semantics is the study of linguistics meaning. Okay, once again, semantics is the study of linguistic meaning. So, in lieu of the word meaning, dealing with the word semantic, dealing with semantic memory, then we should be trying to remember life, the meaning of life, the origin of life. This is not the origin of life when you became a human being. The origin of life started with a process going back to the evolutionary process where life originally began for all organisms on this planet. Okay, so very important. But when Agent Smith was talking about human beings, he was talking about us as a part of those organisms that evolved on this planet, because he said it was a new organism. He said there was a new organism, not like the mammals that was created, but yet it's a human being. All right, and we know that human being is based upon the matrix that subjects that human being to that degree or that complexity as a result of his ignorance. All right, Morpheus didn't know what he was talking about. Neo didn't know what he was talking about. Hell, Agent Smith didn't know what he was talking about, but he had a hitch or something was going on. Okay, just like we got a hint that something was going on, but you do not know because you don't know the meaning of the word. You don't know the meaning of those words that existed prior to you coming on the scene. The meaning of the words was already stored in your memory based upon your classification. Okay? No matter what organism you are, you have information given to you that you must retrieve. Okay? We know semantic means meaning, to determine the meaning of the language, determine the meaning of the word, and we know the word phone means voice or sound. All right. We know that we all speak Anglophone because we know that in the Anglophone, the word or the language is English. All right. Within the Anglosphere. Very, very important to understand that. Okay. So what is semantic memory? Since we know semantics is the study of linguistics meaning, the study of language. Semantic memory. Semantic memory refers to general world knowledge that humans have accumulated throughout their lives. Okay? Not episodic. It's semantic memory. Semantic memory refers to general world knowledge that humans have accumulated throughout their lives. This general knowledge, word, meaning, concept, facts, and ideas is intertwined and experienced and dependent on culture. Okay? So it depends on your culture. You got a whole bunch of cultures going on with a whole bunch of language that has a whole bunch of different meanings, concepts, and ideas. And you have to choose this one that you are associated with based off your culture because the word and the meaning and the concepts and facts and ideas are different. And it should be general knowledge for you. Okay? This should be general knowledge for you. If it's not, then that means that the knowledge is episodic. Somatic memory is distinct from episodic memory, the memory of experiences and specific events that occur in one's life that can be recreated at any given point. You hear that? For instance, somatic memory might contain information about what a cat is, whereas episodic memory might contain specific memories of stroking a particular cat. Okay, so it's very important to understand the difference between episodic and somatic memory. Let's dive a little deeper into somatic memory because we have to understand that somatic memory is based on memory that one occurred through lifetime. So that means that may be a latent somatic memory, which we have to use a latent somatic analysis. Okay, a latent somatic analysis. Okay, very important. So let's go to this term latent somatic analysis. Dealing under the topic somatic memory. It says latent somatic analysis. And you know what analysis is, right? This is dealing with mathematics. Mathematics is based upon a proposition that brings forth the premises to draw your conclusion. This is nothing more than what we call mathematical statement, or mathematical proof. One of the most popular models in latent somatic analysis, LSA, is LSA at T plus D matrix. It's constructed from a text corpus where T is the number of terms in the corpus and D is the number of documents. Here, context is interpreted as documents, and only words or word phrases are considered as items in memory. Each cell in the matrix is transformed according to the question. So, as we can see, based off your documentation and the language within that documentation, determines the matrix that you're subject to. It can be in the form of a book, it can be in the form of a song, it can be in the form of a chant, it can be whatever you want it to be. It can be numbers, symbols, graphs, etc. It's called a text corpus. All right. This confines you to your matrix because we understand somatic memory means memory, what one remembers. And we know somatic memory, based upon latent somatic analysis, can be subject to a matrix if you don't understand what created that matrix. Comprehend? Very important. So it says that one of the more popular models in latent somatic analysis matrix is constructed from a text corpus where T represents the T term in the corpus and D represents the particular document. So that brings us to the term text corpus. What is it? In linguistic and natural language processing, a corpus or text corpus is a data set consisting of natively digital, older digitized language resources, either annotated or unannotated. Annotated, they have been used in corpus linguistics for statistical hypothesis testing, checking occurrences or validating linguistic rules within the specific language of territory. You hear that? So it's based upon culture, all right? The English have a different text corpus. The Moors had a different text corpus. The Egyptians have a different text corpus. All right. It's based upon how you obtain your knowledge and where the knowledge derived from. Very, 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 very important. Because we understand that, as Agent Smith said, everyone that was subject to the knowledge that they gave you was had an equilibrium. Okay, it was only those that were human beings that, what he said, uh, uh, that spread it out. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we call the molecular entity. All right, the molecular entity was based upon the elements that didn't originate on this planet, which we call ether, which was the fifth element added to the equation. Okay, we must understand what's going on. All right, I know you comprehend, Archbishop. In linguistic and natural language processing corpus, text corpus is a data set consisting of natively digital and older digitized language resources, either annotator or annotator. So that's very strange because the Enochian language created by Robert D. and Edward Kelly had a text corpus as well. All right. And they said they were speaking to the angels. Didn't they say that? Let's see. Enochian. Enochian is a occult constructed language. It's still linguistic, said by its originators to have been received from angels, recorded in private journals of John Dee and his colleague Edward Kelly in the late 16th century through what we call the Renaissance era, through dealing with Renaissance magic, what happened in the 15th and 16th century. This all involved magic that already existed before the Renaissance era, and we know that John Dee worked for Henry VIII, the founder of the House of Tudors. All right, and we know that he worked for Elizabeth I, the daughter of Henry VIII, who was one of the kings from the House of Tudors. All right. It says here Kelly was a scribe who worked with Dee in his magical investigation. The language integral to the practice of Enochian magic. The language found in Dee's and Kelly's journals encompasses a limited textual corpus. Did you hear that? Textual corpus. All right. So this is the reason why your the language, no matter how you style your language, it can be letters, it can be symbols, it can be numbers, it can be phrases, it can be words, etc. It creates a pattern for memory, okay? A semantic process, all right? It's very important, semantic process, and the semantic process is based off semantics, which means the meaning of the words that were created in that process of creating, as they said, this magical spell that we're in based off the language, okay? So everybody in their own language is something, their own magical spell. You better learn how to break the spell, all right? So we understand that it's called text corpus. We know in semantic memory, the text corpus created the matrix. Okay? The text corpus created the matrix. We know the matrix, as they said, in the text corpus, for what we all learned, is based off what they call matrix of biology. Okay? The matrix of biology. You got to understand that. So we understand semantic memory is based off semantics, and we know semantic means meaning, the meaning of the word. So we know that everything we do based off life, based off our comprehension of life, comes from comprehending how we receive the information dealing with life, whether it comes from letters, words, numbers, symbols, signs, etc. All right. So the whole process for us is having or how to obtain life or what's the meaning of life, and not this life, the life that's to come. That's the purpose of intent of you being here, to understand the life that's to come, knowing where you originally came from. Okay, because the said engrams are imprinted in the physical substance on biophysical and biochemical changes that are stored in biological tissue. What biological tissue? The matrix, that's the tissue that surrounds what we call the eukaryotic cell, which is a cell for you to become who you are today, as well as everything else on this planet. All right. So what's the meaning of the words based upon the memories where the words were stored? For us, it's English. So there's memories in the English language that we have to find out. All right. There's meaning in the English language that we must know. All right. So that means that you must be part of the English spirit. Those who are not part of the English spirit that speak the language are subject to what we call the Anglophone. You know what I'm saying? Because when you hear them speaking English, that don't mean that they're English. That don't mean that that's their nationality. That don't mean that that's their genetics that they have in them. Because everybody around from every other culture speaks English, but that don't make them English. Okay. So the meaning of life. Since we know semantics means the meaning of words, the meaning of life pertains to the inherited significance of philosophical meaning, semantics of living or existing in general. Okay? There is not a definitive answer in thinking or discourse on the topic is sought in the English language through the question, what is the meaning of life? It is the Spanish, the Scottish, the German, uh, uh, the Morse language, or any other language. It said the meaning of life pertains to the inherited significance or philosophical meaning. It said the inherent significance or philosophical meaning of living or existing in general. There is not a definite answer in thinking or discourse on the topic is sought in the English language through the questions, what is the meaning of life? Or the related, why are we here? Or what is the purpose of existence? There have been many proposed answers, i.e., proposition answers to these questions from many different cultural and ideological backgrounds. All right, you better listen. The search for life meaning has produced much philosophical, scientific, theological, and metaphysical speculation throughout history. Different people and cultures believe different things for the answers to the questions. Opinions vary on the usefulness of the using time and resources and the pursuit of those answers. Excessive pondering can be indicative of or lead to an existential crisis. Okay? An existential crisis. Y'all better listen to me. Okay? Y'all better listen to me. All right? So we understand that the meaning of life is based upon what is life, and life based upon your makeup. Okay? Based upon your makeup. We know that the matrix was the tissue of a eukaryotic cell. Okay? And we know that the matrix dealing with the eukaryotic cell was a cell that started evolution. Okay? It's a cell that started evolution. Did everyone understand that? All right? You have to understand that. So, in order for that, we understand the meaning of life, and we understand that we didn't originate on this planet, like Agent Smith said. We were a different organism, like Smith said, but yet we had a different life existing. We know life is maintained by the air we breathe. We know ether was the air breathed by the immortals, contrast to air breathed by mortals. Once again, ether was the air breathed by mortals, contrast to the air breathed by mortals, i.e., human beings. So this takes you into the term immortality, because we know that things that evolved from the eukaryotic cell, which was based upon the matrix, which is the tissue, which is the extracellular frame for the matrix for all those human beings that would evolve, such as everything, including mammals, plants, etc. Okay, they have an internal structure, all right, to sustain that organism, that object, that body. So we understand that those things that are living, that has the breath of life, must return to where the source of that breath of life come from. And life is defined by one's makeup. All right, because we know that the human body is made up of 96% of biomolecules. Okay, oxygen being one, and without oxygen, we can't breathe. All right, there will be no life. So you must comprehend that. You must understand that. Very important. So let's check it out. Let's now watch where we're going to go now. Let's go back here to mathematics, matrix, and biology. For all you want to donate, send your donations to $ Clifford Jefferson L. Or if you want to donate to the temple, you can donate to the Third Temple English Church of England. All right. We accept all gift donations. All right. Free and common soakage. All right. Is honored. So it says matrix. In biology, we're talking about the matrix. So we can't use the term matrix loosely, because we understand that based upon the matrix that got us trapped here in this three-dimensional world is based upon what? The material called tissue, which is in between the eukaryotic organism cell. It's not talking about the flesh. It's talking about eternally, not externally. Okay? Internally, we know the eukaryotic cell was a cell that was created by way of what we call horizontal gene transfer. Horizontal gene transfer. Eukaryotic cell was created by horizontal gene transfer. That means that they were created by what we call the eukaryote. The eukaryote. All right. So with that, let's go into what we call immortality. Immortality is the concept, idea, abstract idea, and in order for you to do immortality, that abstract idea must have mathematical proof, which is your proposition, which brings forth the premises, which draws the conclusion that 9 times out of 10, you're right. Okay? So immortality is the concept, a mathematical statement or mathematical proof of eternal life. And it says some species possess biological immortality due to the apparent lack of the Hayflick limit. You need to look that term up. Some scientists, futurists, and philosophers have theorized about the immortality of the human body. It didn't say human being. It said the human body, with some suggesting that human body's immortality may be achievable in the first few decades of the 21st century with the help of certain technologies such as mind uploading. When did mind uploading become a technology? Mind uploading as a technology became digital immortality, which means a database, such as a computer. Okay? You are your own computer. Okay? All right? You are your own computer. Just like Neo and everybody else was hooked up to that mainframe. Okay? This mainframe is the matrix, and that matrix is the tissue that surrounds the eukaryotic cell that keeps everything within that molecular state, molecular entity, by way of what we call chemical elements being in a state of bonded through chemical bonding based upon the chemical reaction, which brought forth the chemical substance. And we know that chemical substance is a physical substance that code, that information that was embedded in that biophysical, biochemical cell, and which is stored the memories in biological tissue by way of what we call engrams. Quantum computer. I like that. You don't real. Quantum computer. Quantum computer. Not your physical computer. The quantum computer. All right. Very, 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 very important. So immortality is achievable in this day and time through mind uploading. All right. How do you mind uploading? Because mind is a cognitive faculty, and mind uploading is based upon memory. Because the mind purpose is to remember. All right. Remember, because we understand that memory dictates your present and future uh, 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 destination. All right, because you're already here in 3 dimension. You came from one dimension. That one dimension was that person, place, and thing. All right? That's one to two dimension to three dimension. That person, place, the thing, which all originated from evolution and eukaryotic cell, which has the tissue, which is the matrix to bind everything based upon the makeup of the chemical elements that created everything through chemical reaction that created the chemical substance, which we call matter. And we know matter is based upon everything that has mass, volume, okay, which fills up space for that thing, for that person, for that place. But for that place and that thing and that person, that place and that thing to exist, there must be space to put it. Okay? Who put that space there to put that place, that thing, that person that Agent Smith was talking about? It wasn't that new organism, that human being that only exists here because of that ignorance of that state or where you existed from or where you came from. Okay? For that, it takes memory. And memory is the information that was stored in melanin, and that melanin is a biomolecule which must be understood based off biochemistry, because biochemistry deals with understanding biomolecular, i.e., molecular entities, which you are. Okay, so immortality is achievable through mind uploading, and through mind uploading, we are able to achieve mortality. And what is, and we know immortality deals with extraterrestrial. All right, so what is extraterrestrial? Okay, what is the extraterrestrial? Even if extraterrestrial life is based on carbon and use waters as a solvent, like Earth life, it may still have a radically different biochemistry. We know that engrams are memories stored in the stored in the physical substance, i.e., chemical substance, i.e., matter, mass, volume. All right, may still have a radically different biochemistry. Life on Earth started with RNA world, and later evolved to the carrier form where some of the RNA tags were transformed to the DNA and proteins. Extraterrestrial life may still be stuck on the RNA world or evolve into other configuration. It is unclear if our biochemistry is the most efficient one that could be generated, or which element would follow a similar pattern. However, it is likely that even if cells had a different composition to those from Earth, they would still have a cell membrane. Life on Earth jumped from prokaryotes to eukaryotes and from unicellular organisms to multicellular organisms through evolution. Did you hear that? So far, no alternative process to achieve such a result have been conceived. Even if hypothetical, evolution requires life to be divided into individual organisms, i.e., molecular structure, is no alternative organization has been satisfactorily proposed either. So you don't understand mathematics. Because the proposition is based off mathematical proof, and mathematical proof is based off one understanding of abstract objects. And abstract objects are called mathematical objects, and mathematical object is fourth dimension, which is outside your three-dimensional world. Now, subject to what we call time space. There's still space because that space is ether, because ether preemanates space by way of vacuum, which is void of mass, matter, volume, which you call chemical substance. All right? So it's very important to understand this, because if you don't, you ain't going home, brothers and sisters. So far, no alternative process to achieve this until this day in time. Until you watch this lesson, you are able to achieve this. Why? Let's look at horizontal gene transfer. Horizontal gene transfer or lateral gene transfer, contrast to vertical gene transfer, is the movement of genetic material between organisms other than by the vertical transmission of DNA. That means through reproduction. You hear that? It's an important factor of the evolution of many organisms. Horizontal gene transfer, or HGT, is influencing scientific understanding of higher order evolution, while more specifically shifting perspective of bacterial evolution. This is why you have the movie Thor, because you're dealing with what they call Asgard. All right, Asgard is where Arcadia, bacteria, and eukaryotes evolved from. We know that prokaryotes are what we call arkaryotes and bacteria, and we know that prokaryotes gave birth to eukaryote yolks, which are multicellular cells through what we call horizontal gene form, able to pass foreign genetic material to some other cellular material by way of what we call chemical reaction. You must understand this. All right. You must, because what did Agent Smith say? He said that they were a virus. First genetic material on this planet was a virus, bacteria. Y'all don't hear me. All right? We are God in the flesh. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was God, and the Word became flesh and dwelt amongst men. You hear that? So, in order for you to know that and to believe that, you must comprehend that. Okay? You must comprehend that. Let's move forward. So, we have matrix in biology, and matrix in biology is the material or tissue in between the eukaryotic organism or cell. And we know that the eukaryotic cell started all life through evolution. So somewhere in this evolutionary process, the key to understanding how to get out of this matrix through the evolutionary process, through the eukaryotic cell, is by memory, remembering. Okay? You have to remember. All right? Very, very important. So we have to understand that matrix biology is not the source of memory. You must go to mathematical matrix. Okay? Mathematical matrix. How many of y'all heard of that term? Don't forget your donations. $ Clifford Jefferson L or the Third Temple English Church. In mathematics, a matrix is a rectangular array of tables or numbers, symbols, or expressions with elements or entries arranged in rows and columns, which is used to represent a mathematical object or property such as an object, a body, physical body, human body, all the same thing. All right. So in mathematics, contrast to mathematical object, contrast to mathematics dealing with biology, because biology, mathematics, is dealt from the external aspects through, as they said, through your sensory. Okay. We understand biology is a state of evolution from one dimension to two dimension to three dimension, with concerns to Euclidean theory that deal with everything that based off in mathematics, space and time, which means the universe. Okay? Which means the universe. Thank you, Archbishop. In mathematics, a matrix is a rectangular array of tables of numbers, symbols, or expressions with elements or entries arranged in rows and columns, which is used to represent a mathematical object or property of such an object. That is very, 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 very important. We understand what matrix biology is, and matrix biology is deal with the matrix or the tissue that the eukaryotic cell created, which was the prison. Okay? Which was the prison. We know that the tissue has the memory, which is the memory is the information that came from the melanin. Because we know that melanin is a biomolecule. We know melanin converts energy, and we know melanin acts as a transduction. We know melanin is what we call what's it called baryonic matter. Okay, baryonic matter is all matter that takes of mass, which you have in the universe. Okay, so we must understand that dealing with understanding the original position before the evolution, which is the person, place, or thing, which didn't exist before that space was there to put that person, place, or thing. And whoever put that there had to be conscious, because it didn't happen by randomness. All right. It was predeterminability. Our universe was not created by randomness. It was created by predeterminability. In order for that predeterminability, you must have a cognitive faculty. All right. You must have a mind. Okay. To do such a thing. All right. The only question of that mind is what physical composition or what state was that mental entity that created that space, that time, that thing, that person. That's what we're trying to get back to. Okay? Because that's what Agent Smith stated from. We were a new organism on the planet. All right? We were a new organism on the planet. Let's get there. So mathematical matrix is based upon mathematical objects. Did you hear that? Mathematical objects. So what is a mathematical object? Let's look it up. Or mathematics. First of all, let's look upon mathematics before we look at mathematical object, because that's our key home. Mathematics. Mathematics is the field of study that discovers and organizes methods of theorems, which are called premises, and theorems, which you call theories, that are developed and proved for the need of empirical science, the high science in mathematics itself. There are many areas of mathematics that include number theory, as they said, in regards to semantic memory, all right, which is the matrix, which is based upon numbers, symbols, signs. It can be words, it can be letters, whatever you want. There are many areas of mathematics that include number theory, the study of numbers, algebra, the study of formulas related to structure, geometry, the study of shapes and spaces that contain them, and analysis such as latent, semantic analysis, which they said was based upon text corpus, which we know is the information stored in the documents, which to us is the English documentation or the English information based upon the English language, which is based upon English linguistic, okay? Which is all based upon semantics, which bring forth their meaning. So the analysis that we come to based off mathematics clearly says mathematics involves the description and manipulation of abstract objects, okay, that consists of either abstraction from nature or in modern mathematics, purely abstract entities that are stipulated to have certain properties called axions, which are premises. So that means that mathematics deals with theories brought upon by mathematical proof, by mathematical statements, which are propositions, which forms your premises, which draws your conclusion based upon mathematical objects, which are called abstract objects. So mathematical objects are called abstract objects. Abstract objects are called mathematical objects. And we know those both are acquired through abstraction. So what is abstraction before we look up mathematical objects, since we know what mathematics is? Abstraction in mathematics is the process of extracting and underlying the structures, patterns, or properties of the mathematical concept, removing any dependence on the real world objects which it might originally have been connected, and generalizing it so that it has a wider application or matching among other abstract descriptions of equivalent phenomena. So we understand that abstraction is the breakdown the underlying structure. We know that for us, that's the matrix, and that represents the tissue. And the only way you can break down the underlying structure of that tissue is through understanding the memories that were stored in that tissue based upon encoding or imprinting in that physical substance, which we know we can achieve. We can achieve our immortality through mind uploading by way of achieving our extraterrestrial life or immortality, which is considered extra life, through understanding how we got here in the first place, which we call evolution, by understanding the start of evolution, which by way of what we call the prokaryotic cell. And the prokaryotic cell is the extraterrestrial cell. How we know it? Let's just go back to extraterrestrial. This is the best lecture I ever did. And we know right here in extraterrestrial, they say even extraterrestrial life is based on carbon-used water as a solvent like Earth life. It may still have radically different biochemistry. You must understand and remember that biochemistry because that's where the memories are stored based upon the biochemistry, which causes a chemical reaction to the chemical substance, which is the physical body, based upon the original chemical elements that it originated from. All right, which we know the chemical elements are biomolecules, and the biomolecules got their start as a result of melanin, which came along by way of melogenesis, which is interaction with photon light, which are the force carriers, which are massless particles. So if it's massless particles where the information is given, which must be massive particles based upon your understanding the information from where it came from, which was massless, without mass, value, or matter. So we understand that. It says here, however, However, it is likely that even cells have a different composition to those from Earth. So if you're dealing with the matrix of the what we said the in biology, it said that the matrix in biology is the tissue of the eukaryotic cell. And it said that here, however, it's likely that even if cells, i.e., eukaryotic cells, had a different composition to those from Earth, because those that evolved on Earth evolved from eukaryotic cells, they would still have a cell membrane. Prokaryotes don't have a cell membrane. Life on Earth jumped from prokaryotes to eukaryotes and from unicellular organisms to multicellular organisms through evolution. You hear that, y'all? It says here, extraterrestrial life or alien life, or colloquially simply alien, is life which does not originate from Earth. No extraterrestrial life has yet been conclusively detected, understood, uh, 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 deciphered, discerned, all right, known of, right, until now. Such life may range from a simpler form such as prokaryotes to intelligent beings, all right, possibly bringing forth civilization that might be far more advanced than the human species. The Drake equation speculates about the existence of sapient life elsewhere in the universe. The science of extraterrestrial life is known as astrobiology. So, if the science of extraterrestrial life is astrobiology, that means that it's the science of mathematics. It's the science of mathematics about mathematical objects or abstract objects. All right, that's what it means. You're learning that here today. It ain't like it's new. All information has always been there. Where we at? Mathematics. Where is it at? Okay. So we know abstract is the underlying structure, breaking down the underlying structure and disattaching from the world we perceive as real, which is what we call the three-dimensional world. We know that the fourth dimensional world, which is the abstract object, which we have to prove through what we call mathematical proof or mathematical statement, which comes by what we call a thought experiment, which remove us from the Vedic ignorance, which where they put us in, and its original position, which is the matrix, based of what we teach us about evolution, and not knowing how evolution got started. Okay, very important. So abstraction means to extracting, not adding to, but extracting the underlying structure, patterns, or properties of mathematical concept, ideas, memories, removing any dependence of the real world object. What object? Concrete objects from abstract objects. What are objects? Let's look up the word abstract. I mean objects. In metaphysics, the distinction between abstract and concrete refers to a divide between two types of entities. All right? An etheric entity and a molecular entity. Those are the only two types of entities. An etheric entity and a molecular entity, because the etheric entities come from the fourth dimension. The molecular entities come from the third dimension. Okay? You are a molecular entity. Okay? You must understand that. In metaphysics, the distinction between abstract and concrete refers to a divide between two types of entities. Many philosophers hold that the difference has fundamental metaphysical significance. Examples of concrete objects, i.e., molecular entities, include plants, human beings, and planets, while things like numbers, sets, and propositions, i.e., what we call etheric entities, are known by what we call abstract objects. All right. There is no general consensus as to what the characteristics marks of concreteness and abstracts are. Popular suggestions include defining distinctions in terms of the difference between one, existence inside and outside space-time. Okay, very important. Two, having cause and effects or not. Three, having contingent or necessary existence. Four, being particular or universal. Five, belonging to either the physical or the mental realm, or to neither. Despite this diversity of views, there is a broad agreement concerning most objects as to whether they are abstract or concrete. So, under the most interpretation, all these views will agree that, for example, plants are concrete objects while numbers are abstract objects. Abstract objects are most commonly used in philosophy and semantics, the meaning based off semantic meanings. Okay, you must understand how closely this lesson is to your freedom out of this matrix. As that means that you must understand mathematics. You must understand mathematics dealing with abstract objects and not mathematics dealing with biology, concrete objects, because we know evolution through the eukaryotic cell gave birth to eukaryotic concrete objects. Okay, so let's go back to what we call mathematics. Mathematics involves the description and manipulation of abstract objects that consist of either abstraction from nature or in modern mathematics, purely abstract entities that are stipulated to have certain properties called premises. Okay, we have a premises. Why? Because we understand what an abstract object is. What is an abstract object? In mathematics, a mathematical object is an abstract concept. An abstract concept is an abstract idea arising in mathematics. In the usual language of mathematics, an object is anything that has been or could be formally defined, and which one may do deductive reasoning and mathematical proof, which is nothing more than a mathematical statement which is based upon a proposition, which brings forth the premises, which draws your conclusion. Okay, so a mathematical object is an abstract object. An abstract object is what we call the fourth dimension, not subject to what we call the third dimension, where you have what we call space and time. Okay, space and time. Very important for you to understand that. All right. Physical objects. In common usage, classical mechanics, a physical object or physical body, or simply an object or body, is a collection of matter within a defined continuous boundary and three dimensions. The boundary surface must be defined and identified by the properties of the material, although it may change over time. The boundary is usually the visible or tangible surface of the object. So if you're only dealing with the surface of the flesh, then you're talking about the physical body, which you call human beings. But you're dealing with the surface of the flesh or the tissue, dealing with the eukaryotic cell, you go into the cellular lineage. And the cellular lineage is based off how the cellular lineage is make up, which is nothing more than an organism made up of what we call biomolecules. And biomolecules come from what we call elements, all right? And these elements originated from the classical elements, okay? Very important. These chemical elements originated from the classical elements, and the classical elements resulted from evolution as a result of chemical bonding through chemical reaction by way of the prokaryotic cell and the eukaryotic cell, giving a process to or giving a start to everything that's composed of matter. In order for things to be composed of matter, there must be space, a place to put that matter in. So that means that that space to put that matter in, which we call space, it must be void of space. All right? Very important for you to understand that as we go forward in the closing. Okay, we're almost there. Okay. So we know that classical elements gave birth to chemical elements, which gave birth to chemical bonding by way of chemical reactions with chemical substances, which we call matter. We know matter is things or substances what we call space and time. Everything to what we call everything that was in a three-dimensional world. We know that as Agent Smith said, that we're a new organism. All right. A new organism is not the organism that exists on this planet. And we know that biomolecule, that 96% of human beings' mass is oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and some other gases, elements. Okay. So we must understand that according to the text corpus, which is the matrix that John Dee and Edward Kelly was subject to, and which were based upon their understanding of what we call classical elements, which we know here, subject to terrestrial spirit, is earth, water, air, and fire. Okay? Earth, water, air, and fire. And elements in the mystic supernatural beings that is described in occult and alchemical works from around the time of the European Renaissance, means Renaissance magic, and particularly elaborated in the 16th century work of Paracelsus. According to Paracelsus and his subsequent followers, there are four categories of elementals, which are gnomes, undines, sylphs, and salamanders. These correspond to the four classical elements of antiquity: earth, water, air, and fire. Did you hear that, y'all? He also called these entities elementals. All right? You call them elementals. It's funny. That's why I seen that word. Okay, let's go ahead. We're dealing with the classical elements. Elementals are the classical elements which are called earth, water, air, and fire. The classical elements typically refer to earth, water, air, and fire, and then later ether, which were proposed to explain the nature and complexity of all matter in terms simpler substances, i.e., chemical substances, i.e., physical substance, i.e., physical body. All right, and we know that the biomolecules that human beings are made of is based upon these classical elements: earth, water, air, and fire. Okay, and fire. We must understand that. And then later, ether. How is this possible? Chemical elements. A chemical element is a chemical substance that cannot be broken down into other substances by chemical reaction. The basic particular particles that constitute a chemical element is the atom. When atoms combine by chemical bonding, they create what we call molecules. Okay? They create molecules, which creates what we call a molecular entity. Two or more atoms can combine to form a molecule. Chemical compounds are molecules made of atoms of different elements, while mixture contains atoms with different elements not necessarily combined as molecules. Atoms can be transformed to different elements in nuclear reactions, which change an atom's atomic number. So we understand that more than one atom is called molecules, which bring forth what we call a molecular entity by way of chemical bonding through chemical reactions. Molecular entity in chemistry and physics, a molecular entity or chemical entity is a constitutionally or isotopically distinct atom. You heard that word? Distinct atom, molecule, ion pair, radical ion, complex, complex, etc. Identifying as separately distinguishable entity. A molecular entity is any singular entity, irrespective of its nature, used to concisely express any type of chemical particle that can exemplify some process. This is called a chemical element. Okay? Not subject to any chemical reaction or chemical change. It's very, very important for you to understand this, such as ether. In closing, the word, let me go here. According to ancient medieval scientists, also the ether was also termed the fifth element or quintessence. It's material substance, all right, material substance that fills the regions of the universe, which is subject to what we in mathematics space time or just space beyond the terrestrial sphere. All right, the concept of ether or the idea of ether was used in several theories, i.e., premises, to explain several natural phenomena, such as the propagation of light. We know light is ultraviolet radiation, okay? Photon light, all right? Massive particles, the force carriers, all right? So it says that the concept of ether was used in several theories to explain several natural phenomena, such as the propagation of light and gravity. In the late 19th century, physicists postulated that ether permeated space. Permeate means spread out, providing a medium, something to pass through which light could travel in vacuum. We're talking about UV ray light. So that transduction and that transduction and conversion of energy by way of a medium, by way of vacuum, is what melanin does. Okay? That's the same thing melanin does, and melanin is a biomolecule. Very important for you to understand that. So ether exists in what we call the fourth dimension, with the extension of the third dimension is just not subject to time and space, because things that evolve are evolved in time within that space. Everyone understand? Sure you do. As I come to my closing. Now, what does this have to do with the church? The English Third Temple Church of England. What this has to do with it? We know that the 1911 Encyclopedia was the Britannica was the text corpus created by the Scottish monarchs through the Scottish diaspora as a result of the Scottish Enlightenment, which brought this information around the world. All right. So we understand that in 1911 Encyclopedia said that the Berbers, let's define matrix first. Matrix is a word of somewhat wide application, chiefly used in the sense of a bed or enclosed mass in which somebody is shaped or formed. Did you hear that, y'all? Latin matrix womb. Once again, matrix is a word, somewhat wide application, chiefly used in the sense of a bed or an enclosed mass in which something is shaped or formed. It's very, very important to understand that you are indeed inside the matrix. Okay? You're indeed inside the matrix. Matrix is thus used of a mode of mental or other substance in which a design or pattern is made integral from which an impression and relief is taken. All right? That's what a matrix is. In medieval Latin, matrix is a diminutive matricula. It had the meaning of a roll or register, particularly one containing the names of the members of the institution, as of the clergy belonging to a cathedral, collegiate, or other church, or of the members of a university. From this use is derived matriculation, the admission to membership of a university, also the name of the examination of such an admission. So you are now being examined, my brothers and sisters. You are now being examined. Why are you being examined? In order because you're being judged by the Berbers. The Berbers. Why? It says here. The invaders who have most affected the Berber race are the Arabs, but the two races with a common religion, often a common government, with the same tribal grouping, have failed to amalgamate to any great extent because of our culture. This fact has been emphasized by Dr. R.G. Latham, who writes, all that is not Arabic is in the Kingdom of Morocco, all that is not Arabic in French, province of Algeria, all that is not Morocco, parts of Algeria, and all that is not Arabic in Tunis, Tripoli, and Fezzan is Berber. The explanation lies in a profound distinction of the character. The Arab is a herdsman and a nomad. The Berber is an agriculturist and a townsman. Arab has built his social structure on the Quran, which inculcates absolutism or aristocracy, theocracy. Remember, we're talking about that text corpus, all right? That matrix. Everybody's stuck in their own matrix. The Berber, despite his nominal Mohammedism, is a democratic with his Jimna or Wittemant or his Kanun or unwritten code, the Magna Carta of the individual liberties as opposed to the community of good. We know that the Magna Carta of the written code was written by John, okay, which was a melanated brother, versus the unwritten code, meaning the code we went by, which was abstract code, an unwritten code, the code of life, which was the memory, okay? Our ancestors knew we was going to remember this, so they what? Written down in a written code, all right? A written script, imprinted it, all right? Very important for you to understand that, all right? So we had the Wittenmont, which was the government, and the uncoded Magna Carta, which was the laws, okay? So let's look up. Witten. Let's look up Witten, which is Wittenmont. The power of Witten vary according to the possible personality of the reigning king, being considerable under a weak ruler, but inconsiderable under a strong one. Generally speaking, it diminished as the years went by, and from necessary incentives and members became merely attesting witnesses. Its duties are shown by the preambles to the laws of Ani, king of Wessex, and 2,000 years later by the preamble to those of Alfred the Great, while several similar cases could be instanced. We talk about Alfred the Great and his descendants. We know King Edgar the Peaceful was the descendant of Alfred the Great. Let's prove it. The number of councils attending the meetings of the Witten varied considerably from time to time. In Wittemont, held at Lutton in November AD 931, were the 2 archbishops, 2 Welsh princes, 17 bishops, 15 aldermen, 5 abbots, and 59 ministry. And another, that of Winchester of AD 934, were present and 2 archbishops, 4 Welsh kings, 17 bishops, 4 abbots, 12 aldermen, and 52 ministries. These are perhaps the fullest extent list of Edgar's Wittemont, which I'm the reincarnation of King Edgar the Peaceful. The one of AD 966 contained King Edgar's mother, 2 archbishops, 7 bishops, 5 aldermen, 15 ministry, and this is a fair specimen of the usual proposition. You hear that? Proposition. based off mathematics, almost immediately altered after the Norman conquest. Words fell into disuse. Okay? The words fell into disuse. Let's look up the Matrix, not the Matrix. Let's look up the Magna Carta and closer. Magna Carta of the Great Charter, named in the famous Charter of Liberated, granted in Rudimere in June 1215 by King John to the English people. You hear that? To the English people. Let's get a picture of King John. Because the written code of law was written by King John. The uncode of law was written by the Anglo-Saxon Berbers, which King John, the son of Henry II, the son of Godfrey the fifth crown of Anjou, son of Fulk, ruler of Jerusalem, descended down from, where I am truly a descendant. Why? Through memory. I remember. Okay? Very important. As you can see, these are the picture of King John, son of Henry II. All right? Son of Henry II. His brother was Richard III and Richard I and Henry III. The father of Edward I, who was the father of Edward II, was the father of Edward III. All right? Let me make sure you guys see this. King John. Look at those melanated features. Okay? Look at the melanated features. They even chopped off the nose and the lips. These are our ancient kings and queens. All right? These are our ancient kings and queens who left everything in place for us, even the archbishops behind them. Okay? Look at it, brothers and sisters. This you cannot deny. This you cannot deny. So in closing, where's the matrix at now? Where's the matrix? Look like it just erased it. Where'd it go? Matrix. Matrix. Okay, so we know the difference between matrix and biology. All right, so we know the understanding of matrix and biology, and the matrix in biology represents the tissue of the eukaryotic cell that started the process of evolution, which originated from a prokaryotic cell, which was a cell that was considered extraterrestrial and was able to give a life to intelligent life here on planet, which was the life that evolved from all organisms on the planet that are intelligent, i.e., are cognate. Okay, that are cognate. We understand that without that cognate person to put that space there for that place, that thing, and that individual that evolved, you will not be able to get out of the matrix. Because we know that the matrix in biology is the tissue, all right? It's the tissue of your eukaryotic cell, which is the extracellular framework for everything that evolved, which we call mass on the cellular lineage level, or what we call biomolecular level. We understand engrams are the codes imprinted in the physical substance on a biophysical and biochemical level based upon the change which resulted from chemical reaction, which are the memories stored in the biological tissue. You know what I'm saying? And we understand that is the prison that we are subject to without this memory. So the memory that you must remember is mathematics, which is the abstract object, which is what we call the fourth dimension, which is based upon abstraction through the thought experiment from the world that you assume to exist in and realize that it's not actually real. Okay? It's not actually real. So with that, I think I covered everything. Okay. So all you brothers and sisters who are viewing this lesson, please take this information, take it to Brother Choose, Asir Dukateers, Kenny Light Morris Scientific America, Sign of the TV, Shara Seti, How to Work in the Mind, and show them where the real truth is. You cannot obtain truth without mathematics. And mathematics, according to the definition of mathematics in our close zone, mathematics from us, for us. I don't know what it means to y'all. In Latin and English, until around 1700s, remember we're talking about semantics, the meaning of words. In Latin, they mean something totally different, but in English, they mean what it means to us. In Latin and English, until around the 17th, the term mathematics more commonly meant astrology or sometimes astronomy. So when you're dealing with ether, according to classical elements, is those that are developed from or concerned with astrology. So in Latin and English until around 17th century, the term mathematics more commonly meant astrology or sometimes astronomy rather than mathematics. The meaning gradually changed to the present one from about the 15th to the 18th century, and that's through the age of the Renaissance magic. It also says mathematics. The word mathematics comes from ancient Greek, meaning that which is learned, what one gets to know, hence also study in science. The word came to have the narrower and more technical meaning of mathematical study even in classical times, and its adjective meaning related to learning or studious, which likewise further came to mean mathematical, in particular as mathematica meant the mathematical arts. So if you want to grow in your comprehension about your state of existence, then please comprehend this mathematics. All right. And with that, I'm going to say peace. I'm going to leave the floor open for questions, a couple of seconds. If not, we'll close out as I greeted you and meted you. That's in peace. Any questions, viewers? Don't forget, Cash App, $ Clifford Jefferson Arrow, the English Church, $ the English Church of England. All right, single donations, they're needed. All right, and we'll definitely have your posterity within our concerns, our wishes, our arguments, our debates. They're for you. Okay, they are truly for you. So I hope you all enjoyed this. All right, this is for my goddaughter, uh, uh, my granddaughter. I'm bumbling. Uh, she's in the room right now. Mama, I call her Mama. All right, I call her Mama. Her name is Cadence Isabella Dr. Lees. Once again, Isabella Cadence Dr. Lees. Thank you, brother, from the House of Newland. I hope everyone enjoyed the lesson. Archbishop, as always, make sure you post that template at the ending of this video so everyone can see that you are in fact, indeed, in the matrix. And these are the instructions on how to get out by understanding mathematics, all right, which is understanding abstract objects versus concrete objects, which keeps you in this matrix based upon your memory that was lost by not understanding melanin. So with that, we'll say peace.